so it will be mandatory that we stick to the timing foreseen for this session. The AI Week has about a bit more than 30 events in a very different set of applicative field. There is one event this morning on healthcare and another one on healthcare as well on Thursday at the UK Embassy. So it's a joint organization between the British and Belgian healthcare ecosystems. It should be very interesting as well. So, this morning, I will make a brief introduction before we enter into the talks themselves. So, healthcare in Belgium is a very dynamic field with several tens of thousands of direct jobs and many more indirect jobs as well. More than 100 billion euros of exports, and namely through the field of vaccines, but not only. And it's also a sector where people still invest heavily, so more than 5 billion euros each year invested just in R&D. So it's very, very huge. And the richness of the ecosystem is that it is very complete. So we have multinational companies, the top ones. We have medium, small companies that also bring agility and creativity to that ecosystem. Universities, top-level universities, and university hospitals as well. So it's a very complete ecosystem. It's very dynamic. And okay, healthcare innovation, yes, but also within AI. So last summer there was a conference organized in Siena where a group of people reflected what are the steps of the life cycle of healthcare product that may be or are already impacted by digital innovation. And in fact, the conclusion is that it is everywhere. So AI and machine learning can boost the discovery of new target or drug candidates. Also, in terms of diagnosing, how to predict response to treatments, for example. The manufacturing and the supply chains will be also heavily impacted. And also the design and writing of clinical trials, studies, protocols will be also boosted by the use, namely of language model, but not only. And finally, there is also another aspect, which is that, and it's also related to supply chain, but AI and digital innovation in general could also play a role in the distribution of products, namely in a tense context, for example, in the case of pandemics, to distribute healthcare products more equitably. So that was just an example with vaccines, but it's the same with all fields of healthcare. It is or will be positively impacted by the use of digital innovation. And the topic of this AI Week this year is AI, but also regulation. This is the specific topic of this year edition. Of course, healthcare is very used to regulation. You have the medical device regulation, the in vitro diagnostic regulation, all the sets of good manufacturing practice, good laboratory practice, or good clinical practices, among others. So the list is quite long. So everyone in this field is used to regulation. Yet there are another wave of regulations that are coming that are specific to healthcare. GDPR partially was also a matter that had to be taken into account, namely in the medical practice and the setup of clinical trials, for example. But you have newer ones, such as the AI Act, that has now been, that is currently being implemented. and the upcoming EU health data spaces. So no doubt that the field will be able to cope with these regulations. It always does. But there is probably an attention point for public authorities to see that the implementation, so the concrete details of this new regulation, do not cause too much burden in addition to the regulations already in place. So it's not about should we or not regulate, but it's the question of how to make it not too difficult for people in charge of innovation and medical practice to be able to deal with these new regulations. Ethics also matter, and on that point, I would just mention that the previous government put in place here in Belgium at the federal level an ethics committee for data and AI, which is progressively producing outputs. So it's a consultative committee. It is not limited to healthcare, but among other fields, it will also reflect on questions related to healthcare innovation with AI and data. Myself, I'm a proud member of that committee. If you want to discuss it later, feel